Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. So recently my 4-month-old Resident Evil Remakes video finally got a bunch of views. It's been stuck on 15 views ever since I posted it, and it's now currently sitting at 61 at the time of the recording, which sounds low but it's great for a channel of my size. One common feedback theme that I got is that I spoke largely on Resident Evil 2 for the majority of the video, and only lightly touched on 3, which after watching it back, fair enough, yes I did. So I'm giving it a fair chance to shine on its own. I'm actively choosing to limit my footage for the beginning of the game to avoid spoiling things for people who have yet to pick it up. First things first, the game released last year at the most unfortunate time, during a pandemic, which is still going on of course. When it was released, the reaction to this game was mixed to positive. Cut content, incredibly short runtime, and changes to the story seem to be the main gripes for the people that were hyped for the game. The reaction to the game was a surprise to me. One of the main criticisms I saw was some say that it was too action oriented compared to Resident Evil 2 Remake, when the original PS1 game was always a more action oriented experience anyway. And I still, nearly a year later, don't understand or agree to that criticism. It stayed fairly true to the source material in that aspect. Do I think the game could have done with more time in the oven to add some more of the content that was cut? Absolutely. Do I also think that it should have been DLC in its current state? I have to say yes. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually really enjoyed my experience with Resident Evil 3. However, for the purpose of this video, I started a new save file, and it's only my second run through of the game. I always seem to gravitate back to 2 should I want to play Resident Evil. I think what I was most disappointed with was the lack of puzzles. Resident Evil 2 also was pretty light on the puzzles, which is a complete letdown for me, but it was at least had a few more. The gemstone puzzle right at the beginning is pretty much all I can remember from my time with 3. I reserve calling the game a cash grab because I personally enjoyed it, but can I blame other people or the ride or dies for the OG that are pissed off about it? No, I can't say I can. Yes, the game has a few shortfalls. I would have loved to have played through a complete faithful remake, but at least the remake doesn't make the OG irrelevant, I guess. What I do enjoy in the remake, however, is the combat. The combat in the game is actually a step up from Resident Evil 2. Jill, who is of course a well-experienced cop being a member of STARS, has the ability to dodge attacks which Leon, a rookie cop, and Claire, a college student, just wouldn't be able to master with their lack of combat experience. If done correctly, when an enemy lunges at the player, it gives you a few seconds of slowdown time to put an extra few bullets in some zombie domes. This of course was in the PS1 game, but if you ever played it, well, it rarely worked how you would have expected it to, so I'm glad they got this detail right in the remake. It saved my ass on several occasions when being chased by Nemesis. The game can be a challenge if you have the difficulty put high enough for you, and for you beginners you can turn on aim assist, which will give you extra help putting enemies down. It's accessible for all gamer levels. I never struggled with ammo in the game, it's everywhere, trust me. You have bullets to spare, just use them. Okay, so I've been putting it off, but let's finally talk about Nemesis. What a complete joke they made him into. Regardless of difficulty, Nemesis can be downed with one grenade when he's pursuing you. I have this down to a complete art now. He doesn't feel like any kind of threat anymore. He's imposing, sure, and I actually like the redesign, but wow, talk about botching the main draw of the game. I think given more time, Nemesis could have been drastically improved by using the same AI as Mr. X did. Make his encounters non-scripted and allow him to actively search for Jill in the map. Just not in sewers, please. Jeez, I somehow get lost in there every time. Visually, the game looks great. I played it on my Xbox One S when it first released, and for the run through in this video I played it on my Series X. It looks so much cleaner on the Series X because of the limitations of the One S. The game looked blurry and fuzzy. And finally the Series X, it does the game justice with the added horsepower. Jill and Carlos's models in particular were so well done. I wasn't personally all that bothered in the outfit change Jill got in the remake. It just makes more sense for her to wear what she does now rather than the miniskirt, making all those zombies blush. The map design is fantastic, and while we can all moan about what could have been, for what we got, the level design is pretty great. And we got to explore more of Raccoon City, which I really wanted to do in 2 because it looked so cool. In particular, I love the hospital setting, it's creepy, and when you finally encounter the hunters, I really miss them in the series, and they're actually a challenge to put down. When controlling Carlos, I find his weird power punch thing, which is Carlos's equivalent to Jill's dodge, is what helped me most taking them down. Like in 2, the characters that we all know and love, Jill and Carlos, got new voice actors, and I have to say they knocked it out of the park. Carlos in particular was a huge improvement. I never remembered just how much of a stereotype old Carlos was until I replayed the original a few years back, and also what a poor actor that guy was. I can't pick out a single weak performance in regard to the voice cast in 3, even characters that are around for one scene do a fantastic job. I think the series has now recovered from the memes from Resident Evil 1 and Stephen Code Veronica. I have to say, my biggest criticism for the game is the runtime. It's just too short. It feels like an extra slap in the face from what could have been if all the content that was cut was kept in. Now I know it's just a common thing for games to be shorter because of how expensive it would be to make them longer, and development time would be crazy long. But would anyone have actually been mad if they delayed the game to add more content? No one was calling for the game's immediate release. Resident Evil 2 only released the year before. They had time. Overall, I have to say Resident Evil 3 will forever be a what could have been question for me. If given more time and care for the source material, it could have been so good, but what we got was still a good game, I suppose. It's lacking an identity, and it just feels slightly like DLC. I hope the Resident Evil 4 remake, whenever that happens, takes more time, and I hope to God they make Ashley less annoying. Ugh, that voice. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any feedback, do let me know, and if you like this video, why not drop a like and subscribe. Until next time.